Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Saints Network. A little bit of deja vu. Felt like I did this yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's odd, isn't it?
Yeah, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us on what is, here in the UK for definite, deadline day. And I say here in the UK for definite because other transfer windows shut at different times.
Yeah.
There's a couple that shut later on in this month. I think Scotland shuts at 11 o'clock tonight. But for the Championship at least, the deadline day transfer window thing closed an hour ago, just over. Sort of. So for Championship clubs, it's like close. Right. I'm going to have a little moan off the bat here.
Already.
Right. Why does the transfer deadline day shut at 7 o'clock and the Premier League transfer deadline shuts at 7 o'clock, apart from unless you put a deal sheet in? And they get a potential 2-hour extension, but Championship clubs don't. How's that fair?
Where's the money?
Nonsense. Anyway, Saints have had a busy window, but a quiet day so far. It's
so far
significantly quieter than I anticipated.
Yeah.
I thought we'd have an announcement right now, and I've been refreshing before we go live. However, we're going to talk about the outs, we're going to talk about the ins, we're going to talk about the maybes, and we're also probably going to run through what we think is our favourite 11. And spoilers, I have a favourite 11, Ash has a favourite 11. We haven't discussed it. We might disagree. I'd love to know your guys' opinions on the ins and outs whilst we're going through the show. Feel free to stick it in the comment section. We have you up in front of us. We will be able to see you. We might be able to pull some comments in. If you want to guarantee your point gets talked about, feel free to stick it on a YouTube-based super chat if you're watching live. Obviously, if you're listening on demand, you won't be able to do that. But if you stick it on a super chat, we will get to your comment. And if it's relevant to the player we're talking about, we might get to it immediately. Otherwise, the best way to support us, this podcast, is by becoming a member or gifting membership to the channel. It financially supports us. Currently, we run this at a loss. We just do it for the love of the club and football and each other and you guys. Yes. And if you haven't already, please make sure you hit all those magical YouTube buttons for us. So hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon if you do want to be notified for future live streams, which we do every Sunday at 8 p.m. so we can review normally that week's game. This Sunday, slightly different. We will be live at 8 p.m, but rather than reviewing a game, we're going to be previewing the only real proper derby in the UK.
In the south, at least.
No, just the only proper one in the UK.
I don't know.
Right, cool.
I don't know.
So we're going to start very quickly with going through the outs for the club, because this isn't something I want to spend a lot of time on. And for the most part, my personal opinion is that we spent a lot of time removing Deadwood, that a lot of people would probably be considered not really good enough for the club in the Championship, let alone the Premier League. Now, what we've had under Sport Republic so far is a bit of all over the place in transfer windows in general. It's fair to say, right?
Yes.
So in the last few emails, it's because I've read Garcia's one. The last few years, this is the bonus of reading and trying to digest and talk at the same time. The last few years, transfer windows for Saints fans, I think for the most part, we probably all would agree, have been relatively disappointing.
Yes.
We've not particularly brought in really exciting players for the most part. Players that we have brought in have turned out to not really be up to scratch. I would suggest that last year's transfer window going into the Premier League was borderline disastrous, in my opinion. I didn't think we brought anyone in of quality. We go, that club's gone down, so let's buy their attack. Great work, Saints. Good. But do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really kind of make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. You're right.
So up until recently, it's been kind of disastrous. Obviously, had the problem with the director who left and went to Man United, whose name is
Jason Wilcox.
Thank you, Jason Wilcox. Appreciate you. He disappeared. And one of the things the club did in this Premier League season that is positive, and there was only a couple, was they brought in Johan Spors as director of football.
Yes.
Which, at the time, I didn't really know who he was, I'll be honest. I like the noises that he made, like the things that he said. Now I think what we've started to see this window is what he can do for the club, and more importantly, what having a director of football in place will do for the club.
Yes.
And that's a big difference to last season, obviously, where it seemed a little bit like Russell Martin essentially got given a checkbook and got told, off you go.
Yeah, go and buy a load of rubbish, mate.
It's kind of how it felt, right?
Yes.
So what we've done is we've spent some work this window, it seems, at least getting rid of some of the deadwood. So outs, let's talk about outs. Joan Leros has gone to Leonesa.
Some teams in the Spanish second division, yes, but obviously he was brought in he was brought in at the same time that we brought people like Lavia Bazunu, if I remember rightly, probably earlier than that actually, as a young left-back prospect from Manchester City. unfortunately has suffered some very disastrous injuries and is now gone out on loan. I'm led to believe that his contract is up at the end of this year, so that'll probably be him done.
Yeah. A lot of these are loans, by the way, which people are negative on. But what you have to think is we may have had a fee in for the loan, and more importantly, we offload the wages, which does allow us to bring players in because we have them wage budget available. And even if it's the last year of their contract, what happens is you offload the wages, and then at the end of the year, if the team they've been at doesn't want them, you just release them because we at least we haven't paid for them for last season.
Yep.
So Kay Sander off to Red Star.
Off to Red Star, yeah, another loan. Good for him to get the experience because obviously he's a young lad, and at the moment, at the current thing of speaking, unless anything has been agreed, we are sitting on 5 centre backs, potentially only playing 2. So
Yeah. Sugawara has gone to Werder Bremen. This is a loan. However, did you see his social media post today or yesterday?
Yeah, he's always been likeable, isn't he?
He's a likeable chap, and I liked his work rate. He was just a bit shit. Now, his post seems quite final, though.
Yeah.
He's read it, but it looks like he's expecting to not come back to the club.
Yeah, again, another one. I don't think we're going to have any tears shed over him, so that'll be him done. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Talking about shedding things, the only thing I do to this particular individual is spit on him on the way out. Bella Kotchap has finally disappeared to Verona.
Yeah, bye.
On loan. On loan. Stinking attitude.
Absolutely horrible.
That's not sad to see him go.
No,
Slightly embarrassed last season that when he did come on, he got a standing ovation from the crowd. I don't see what he did to deserve that. I don't think you want anybody with that level of attitude around any kind of football club, quite frankly. I thought we would struggle to get rid of him. We have offloaded him on a loan. I do believe that Saints have got an option to extend his contract for a year, which means that the loan does have an option to purchase. So, we'll see what happens there. I can't imagine Saints are going to want to extend his loan unless they're trying to guarantee a transfer fee.
You would assume so. Again, a player who turned up to us with buckets of potential, and actually, for a fair period of time, people were quite happy with the partnership that he had formed with Mohamed Salisu. But again, injury prone, real big issues with his shoulder, kept on having to see specialists, stonking attitude, do one, go away, go in. His career will just go downhill from now, I can guarantee.
You reckon?
His attitude stinks. He can't carry on playing football with that sort of attitude. So,
well, I do look at today's been an exciting day for transfers. I do look at certain individuals in the wider football world, like your Isaks and your Wissers, who refuse to hand in transfer requests and also refuse to play and basically go toys out pram and temper tantrum until I get exactly what I want. I think, cool, you've got your move, but now everyone knows you're a bit of a knob.
But the problem is with someone like Alexander Isak is if that move does not go well for him.
Hey, Juan, who we purchased and then loaned to Costepe,
yes,
has now completed a permanent transfer to Costepe.
Yeah, now we haven't been told about the fee for that, so to speak. So I believe Costepe sold Romelu, who was, I think that was his name. Romelu is one of the strikers that they've got. He's gone elsewhere. I can't remember where it is. So obviously we've sold him there. I'm assuming it would probably be to help PSR, or they probably think he's not going to make it at this level. But
yeah, he's potentially just not good enough for Championship or Premier League, and it balances our books a bit better.
We've got Adam Armstrong. Who do you need?
Cool. Ben Barrett and Diaz. Now, here's an individual who I actually feel a little bit sorry for. I'll be honest. He's complete. Yeah, I do. He's been awful in a Saints shirt. Absolutely awful. He's also not really been given any real time. He played, I think, 10 Premier League games in total for the club. He's clearly completely devoid of confidence at the moment. He has a previously semi-decent record.
In the Championship, yes.
He's a Chilean international. Yes. He's just had a torrid time at Saints. He's now completed a loan move to Derby County. I obviously hope he doesn't. I don't know if can he play against Saints as a loan player?
I would very much doubt it.
So as long as he doesn't score against us, I genuinely hope he does okay and find some form, honestly. But I feel sorry for him because he's looked dreadful for us, and he hasn't clearly. Like, why would clubs keep coming in for him if he wasn't capable at this level?
He's not necessarily Tracy. He looked like an absolute donkey. Like, he's looked awful. He just hasn't looked. Awful. I don't want to sound rude and be completely rude about play. He hasn't looked like he's a footballer.
No, I agree.
He's looked like he's won a competition and got on the pitch.
Utterly devoid of confidence. Now, some of the bigger names that have gone. Sam Amo completed a permanent move to Strasbourg.
Yeah, we knew that. That was obviously helpful in terms of PSR. So that was about £6 million, I think.
Earlier on in the window, Onuachu disappeared finally to Trabzonspor. Let's see if we ever actually get any money out of them.
That'll be an interesting one, isn't it? Although he's back from injury, he's playing, he started the season with him.
He has, yeah. So I I know some Saints fans were upset about Onuachu going. I wasn't so upset about him. I think he was, in fact, a bit of a donkey. Less donkey than Ben Barrett and donkey, but still a bit donkey.
We'll agree to disagree.
Talking of absolutely useless waste of space, Sulemana in a absolute Parsons master. Is it Parsons dealing with the out? No,
Rasmussen's
masterclass. Disappears to Atlanta. I believe Sulemana's already been benched.
Yeah, he's started both games on the bench so far.
Cool. I'm glad we got such a big fee for him because he was rubbish, right? And then some first team players, right? We go into the actual proper first team players. Aaron Ramsdale. This, I think, is a very clever move from the club. I don't think it's great for Ramsdale. And I'll explain why in just a second, but I think it's a very clever move for the club. So Ramsdale reported as being, I think, one of the highest, if not the highest paid player on the wage bill.
Yes.
At 100 plus, 120k a week.
120k, I think it was, yeah.
So we've offloaded him on loan to Newcastle.
Who are covering the entire of his wage bill.
Who are covering the entirety of his wage bill, which is huge for the club.
Yeah.
And they paid us a fee for it.
£4 million.
So that's great business from Saints.
Brilliant business.
Because if we go back up, you have to believe he's coming back to the club.
Yes.
Likely.
And he's not starting at the moment. Nick Pope is starting goal.
Well, and here's the other thing. This is why I think it may be bad for Ramsdale, though, because he isn't actually getting game time. You have to look at, I'll be honest with you, straight up, honestly, you have to look at clubs like Manchester United and think, why didn't they come in for him? Give him first team football over the absolute wastes of space they have. I know they've made a purchase today, but still.
Well, they've not finished. They've not completed it from what I believe. They've obviously gone for this guy from whoever it is, wherever it is. But they...
Yeah, yes, by the way, Matt, we have just broke the viewer record, but don't tell Ash because he'll get stressed when he sees that it was 149 people watching.
So, yeah, Man United went and bought some other keeper, but they didn't go in for Donnarumma. They didn't go in for Emi Martinez because of his wages. And now they're still stuck with Onana and Biantadir or whatever. I don't know. I know we're not going to talk the wider Premier League, but if for any United fans that potentially could be watching this, I think their business has been almost dreadful.
I would have liked if we're looking at potentially going straight back up and Ramsdale actually starting for Saints. I would have liked for him to be getting regular football throughout the year, and I feel like he's not going to get that at Newcastle. That's my only concern.
He's not going to do his England prospects any good.
Quite no, absolutely. Talking about first team players that I was sad to see go, however, Yanni B moved on and off he went to Porto. I mean, I like Yanni B. I like his attitude. I liked his work rate. You cannot hide the fact that he was one of the centre backs involved in two teams that got relegated from the Premier League
and lost 9-0 twice.
Quite exactly. So I think when you consider the fact that perhaps he isn't great, but he was a good servant to the club. He worked really hard. I'm glad he's got a move. I'm sad to see him go.
He was a good servant, but he had a lot of good moments, a lot of bad moments. We'll never forget when he obviously went on loan to Aston Villa and almost scathed us in an interview and came back and was brought on by Nathan Jones, good old Nathan Jones, and then obviously stuck around. But he stuck around for the Championship season. I think a lot of people do forget that sometimes.
Yeah. More recently, before we move on to the big two, literally today, we have noticed that Charlie Taylor has now fully gone on loan to West Brom. It was linked, but he's now officially gone on loan to West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, a player that I like, but again, we've got Ryan Manning, we've got Wellington, we've got Mads, and now they've just signed this.
We'll get into the ins
the other bloke,
in a second, yeah.
Galatasaray, I won't mention it yet.
So he's now gone. We'll go into the potentials in just a second, but obviously the big two to disappear throughout the window and the ones that have brought us in the majority of our revenue has been the selling of Dibbling to Everton and Matty Fernandes to West Ham. Both have now played. It's weird. I find it very strange seeing Dibbling in an Everton shirt and Fernandes in a West Ham shirt, but off they've gone to the Premier League. I don't know if I think that West Ham is a great move for Fernandes. I feel like Everton's an okay move for Dibbling, specifically if he does a lot of learning from Jack Grealish. Having said that, like we mentioned last night, and if you weren't with us last night, which most of you probably weren't because we're up to 150 people right now, that is over 80 million potentially for what was four goals in last season. I think the club, in terms of Southampton, have actually done some pretty decent business overall there. And I think when we move into the ins and we talk about what it's allowed us to do, I think we've probably pulled off one of the best transfer windows I've seen us have overall. Also, by the way, chat, we are waiting to see if Leo Cienza is announced. If it gets announced whilst we're live, please put it in chat.
If anything gets announced whilst we're live,
Yeah, because obviously
put on £100 super chat.
the deals could be, of course, the deals could be done with the media package being waited to be completed before they do the announcement. How they're going to animate a helicopter flying over the Eiffel Tower and having a shit on Paris FC, I don't know. But that still has to be done. If it gets announced, please can you let us know?
Having said that, again though, they have obviously we are waiting on EFL to go through their deals to be able to confirm that deal. So there is also a chance. Put us all in meltdown. It might not happen.
Yeah, of course. So I think the big news for people, the big news that got people upset was most people said that they expected as Saints fans going into this window that we would lose Ramsdale, Matty Fernandes, and Dibbling, and a lot of people said we've done that. We've lost all three. We kind of haven't. We haven't lost Ramsdale. We've loaned him out, so he's still officially a Southampton player.
Yeah. Okay.
There's every possibility at the end of the season we then lose him.
Yes.
There's a possibility that during even January we actually sell him. However, we haven't lost all three. We've lost two for definite, and we've loaned one out. The two that we've lost, I'm sad about both. I'll say that now as a Saints fan. I am sad about both. But you have to be realistic after taking relegation from the Premier League.
With one of the worst seasons ever.
With one of the worst seasons ever, possibly second worst Premier League team in history, and we've managed to basically come out and make 100 million quid ish.
Well, over that.
Well, there you go, right?
Yeah.
I say make, we're talking gross in at the moment, we're not talking net, clearly, because we've spent some money. But to be the second worst team in Premier League history and make over 100 million is baffling to me, and I think we have done good business there. Now, I would have liked to see a slightly higher fee for both Dibbling and Fernandes, but both players also wanted to go. So we've got rid of them, we've got fees for them, and arguably you can say you want 50 for Fernandes and you want 50 for Dibbling, but if no one's prepared to pay it, you're not going to make it. So I think we've done good business there.
Yes.
And specifically because of what allows us to bring in, which we'll go on to in just a moment. We've still got some potential outs, however. So that's all the guaranteed outs done, right? The rest of the potential outs. James Bree has been heavily linked today with Charlton.
Well, from what we're led to believe, he's there, and potentially we're waiting for that deal to go through as well. It'll be the third time that he would have signed for Nathan Jones in the last 5 years.
So it's very possible that Bree's going to go to Charlton and play for Nathan Jones. I don't dislike James Bree. I think,
Wish him well, just hopefully don't win any games.
Will Smallbone today has been linked with, I think, 2 clubs.
Wrexham and Birmingham.
Thank you. Oh, there was also a rumour that he was linked with Rangers. I don't see that happening. But
I don't see that happening, but okay,
no,
that's an interesting one.
Not all things considered, but supposedly Birmingham was the big link today, so there's a possibility that Smallbone will be on the move. Apparently Will still was open to him moving. And then Samadozi has options supposedly. Now, excuse me, what you have to remember is, although the Championship and the English League's transfer window closes at 7, that's not the window's closed. So certain European leagues close later in the window. There is every possibility that we may still see players leave because they'll go to these windows that still aren't yet closed. And Adozie apparently has options, and he's weighing up his options. What confuses me is he's not really been anywhere near any of the first team plans. So sure, I don't know if he's hanging on just in case, but
he's not been. There goes a Papa Fish 20. What a name! Saying that Smallbone's been linked with Millwall.
Oh, really?
Well.
I haven't seen that.
That could be an interesting one. There you go. Last Guitar Heroes come and said the same thing with Millwall. So that's obviously potentially a link that's been done. I think the question Smallbone's had a few links, but there's been nothing concrete. So it depends on whether, firstly, is he over his injury, and is he going to be? Does he want to leave? Because he's well within his right if he wants to stick around the football club.
Yeah.
He'll get minutes, not many, but he'll get some minutes if he's still around. The interesting ones that I'm looking at, Adozie obviously has had some links, but still hasn't gone now. It was 3 weeks ago that Will Steele turned around and said to us that Sam Adozie and Joe Aribo, their deals are going to be completed by the end of the week, and they haven't been done. So whether Adozie is playing hardball and doesn't want to leave, he's still young, remember. Joe Aribo is the other interesting one because he is. No one's showing an interest in him. No one wants him. I rate Joe Aribo as a player.
I was going to say this, right? So my concern at the moment as a Saints fan is if we do lose Smallbone and Aribo, do you think that leaves us weak on cover in midfield? If you have an injury, maybe then you have a suspension, does that leave us weak? Is there a job there for a Smallbone and an Aribo to be at least cover for one or the other? I think there is a space there for one of them.
Potentially, the problem is it's the position that you want them to play in, right? So if you're talking about the players that we're discussing, Will Smallbone and Joe Aribo do not play the midfield role realistically that we want them to play. So,
no, granted, I agree.
Joe Aribo, it's
hence
weird.
not being a first choice, but being cover.
Hence not being a first point. Yeah, it's weird that we're talking about Joe Aribo in this level, obviously, at this level, because with what Joe Aribo has done in his career, with what he's done with Rangers when he scored in the Europa League final, etc., he should be absolutely 100% commanding a role somewhere else. But in terms of where we find ourselves now, there is plenty of options for people to move. Now, Natalie's just mentioned there about potentially bringing a chance of Romero. Romero is still a free agent, so technically that could still happen. It's been linked, obviously, we were potentially rumoured with getting hold of Josh Brownhill, but he'd like to see, I think Wolves have been after him. Someone else in the Championship wanted to sign him. I think it was Leicester. They offered him $100,000 a week. Leicester that have got all that money to spend. And he said no because he obviously wants to go to Saudi Arabia. Fine, see you later, mate.
Yeah, bigger payday, innit? Bigger payday.
Of course it's a bigger payday.
I think out of the two, personally, actually, honestly, I would, which is interesting since he's had no interest, I would rather keep hold of Aribo than I would Smallbone. I think he's got more bite and more engine to him than Will Smallbone.
That's the point. Will Smallbone suits a team that is possession dominant, keeps hold of the ball, doesn't have to do much work off the ball because they have the ball so much.
Agree.
He's knocked off the ball too much. With Aribo is someone who needs to play minutes and play consistently. Now, I think he's in the last year of his contract. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's in the last year of his contract. He is someone who, if he's given consistent minutes, he will play well. But we don't know what the conversations that have been having with Will still behind us for closed doors.
You're also forgetting the most important point. Great song.
Yeah, that too. Bookmark it. Joe Aribo scoring the winning goal at the playoff final at Wembley.
So they're the potential outs, right? And then we go to the ins. And this is where Johan Spors' transfer masterclass has come into play. And he said there is an art behind it, which only becomes sort of visible at the end. That's not the words he used, but words to that effect, right? And actually, honestly, I think he's done a very good job here. And what has been very interesting is watching the player interviews as they've come in and the way they've talked about the club's ambitions, which will have come partly from Spors, but also the conversations they've had with Will Still and how he's kind of been instrumental in bringing some of these players in. Now, again, we're waiting on one to be confirmed, which I think, from what I've researched before we went live, the deal is done.
Pretty much done, yeah, from what we understand.
But it hasn't been confirmed. So I don't want to look like an idiot here and say that one of these is in and he's not in. I'm going to include him just in case, because if he is in, I think the window goes from an 8 out of 10 to a 9 to 10 out of 10 window for Saints. Honestly, I do. So let's look at what we've got, right? And I've done something for a change so that it's not just our ugly faces that you're looking at. We have a slideshow. I thought we had a slideshow. There we go. I found the button. I found the button. So I've done it in order of starting in goal, working up through the pitch. Okay, of players available to us this season, this transfer window specifically. But there's a couple of curveballs in that Ash is unaware of, which we'll talk about. So goalkeeping cover. I don't want to waste too much time on this one. Born as a loan. Clearly third choice.
Never going to play.
They're on the off chance that Bazunu gets injured, which he has had injury in the past. McCarthy steps up and he'll be the cover on the bench.
Keeps a clean sheet at Anfield, sends us through on penalties. Amazing. Done.
George Long, is that his name?
George Long, yeah. When we signed him from Norwich fans thought that there was some money laundering involved because they were absolutely shocked that we signed him. But
I think it's just someone who was available to give us some cover.
Yes.
Not something I think we want to spend any time on here, right? So let's move on to the next one. Boop. Look at that. Joshua Kwashi.
Yes.
So the centre back from the League Two side, French League Two side.
He was in Germany.
Was he in Germany?
Yeah, second division Germany. Yeah.
Second division Germany. Thank you. That's the one. I knew it was second division somewhere. Was joined us and looked like a complete change of stature in terms of player that we were going for.
Yes.
Big player, big, powerful looking player, quite fast.
Yeah.
We've actually seen him play a few games so far.
Yes.
Thoughts on Joshua Kwashi as a signing so far? Is he going to find himself as a first-team player?
He's Gordon Ramsay. He's fucking raw. Excuse my French. He on his moment. Sorry, that's the best thing that I can think of.
Love it.
There you go. Caption that, people. No, he's looked decent to a degree. My problem is he just, like I said, he and taking the joke away now, he just looks so raw. He's obviously energetic. He's young. He's athletic.
Keen.
He's keen. He's quite quick. I don't think playing in the back five suits him.
No,
that's my problem.
I think he shows a lot of promise, actually, and I know he's had a couple of howling mistakes and had a couple of terrible passes, etc. But I think he shows a lot of promise. There's also a couple of occasions where I've seen him track back and made up distances that I didn't think he would make, or we're not used to seeing our players make, to get a covering challenge in, or to see a player away from the box, or whatever. I think he could be a great one. I don't think I see him starting at the moment. But young, athletic, energetic, keen.
If he could just...
Raw is a great word for him.
I think the best thing that can happen with him, with some of the players that we're going to talk about anyway, is that I think the English game has shocked him.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when we played, he's looked good in pre-season. When we played Wrexham, I think he came out and he thought almost, this is not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
This is not what I'm used to. And then he's obviously gone to Portman Road and we've gone to Ipswich and he's going again, this is not what I'm used to.
I also don't see him getting a start because I do see us making a change to our system. So,
yes.
We'll have a look at him.
Hopefully we'll make a change to our system.
Again, chat, feel free to stick your comments in the live stream. I am keeping an eye on it, as Ash will as well, and we'll pick some of them out if we need to. If you really want to make a point about a certain player, feel free to stick on a super chat. I have noticed we've got over 200 people watching at the moment. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash that subscribe button. And importantly, liking the stream really helps your algorithm and is completely free. So 200 people watching, 40 likes so far. Look at this. It's worth a like. Anyway, Joshua Carshi, I think decent business. I think will be good cover. If we develop him, and say he's good at developing players, if we develop him as a young player, I think he could be really promising. I'm positive about.
Yes, agreed.
So moving on, we also have this cheeky chap, Mads Royslev, who's now played 2 games-ish, full games. So he came on his debut off the bench. He then played a full game away at Norwich, and he played most of the game at the weekend.
Yes.
I think he looks pretty decent. I think he's a good signing. Brentford fans suggested that great work rate, good engine, incredible defending, stands players up well. Their only criticism of him was that he likes a sideways or backwards pass. We've seen him whip a few balls in. Seems like a complete package for a Will Still wing back.
Yeah, he seems... there you go, Breeze confirmed to Charlton.
Thank you, chat.
There we go.
Appreciate
Thank you. So Nathan Jones gets his last-minute deadline day lover boy over the Rhine. I think that he could be absolutely brilliant, Royslev. I think not brilliant in terms of he's going to set the world alight and be amazing. I think he's just going to be solid. And I think for what we need in certain positions, we've just missed solid. He's looked really, 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 really good. My only concern is that it's a back five. He doesn't look like he's going to be that one that's overlapping constantly. So
with Mads as well, I think if you look at previously, Walker-Peters was obviously our guaranteed right back, pretty much.
Yes.
We bought in Sugawara because Walker-Peters was likely to go at some point. Sugawara isn't bad going forward. He's pretty terrible in defence. And we've now obviously seen him go, and he doesn't suit Will Still's team. I think with Kyle Walker-Peters going, there was, for me, a big gap at right back. And I, for a while, thought that maybe Bree would fill that role. Got this player announced, didn't know who he was, had a look at him, and think that actually he's a real solid candidate for first-team right-back football for the rest of the season. So there's Mads Royslev. Right.
That's interesting. Caroline said there Bree's loan to Charlton is only until January.
Okay.
That's interesting.
We'll see. We then have this new fella from last night.
The Jellycopter.
Level 8.
The Jellycopter.
How do we say it? It is...
Elias
Gillert. Okay. Interestingly, right foot preferred. So he is also a wing-back. Has also categorically stated he can play right or left side. He's quite happy to play either. He doesn't mind. Sounds quite promising. From Galatasaray as well.
Yeah, so he was, I believe he was at Copenhagen before he signed for Galatasaray. I did actually remember watching the game where he got sent off for a wild two-footed lunge at someone, so he's got a bit of aggression about him, which is always good. I don't know too much about him to a degree, but we've obviously completely revamped that right side now. I would assuming where we are, that Mads will stick as our permanent right back, Manning will stick as our permanent left back or preferred left back. but quite clearly will still like to potentially change those levels. This guy, like you said it last night on the show last night, that this guy potentially can cover both left back and right back. So it's good to have someone who can cover both rather than having one or the other. Having said that, the new game that we see nowadays, you're seeing left backs and right backs on the bench and being changed quite often. So it'll be interesting to see where.
There's also worlds where, depending on injuries and suspensions, one of them can push into midfield and he can slot in as a wing back, or he can play into a right wing position because Royce has played right wing before. So,
there's all these options, same as Roslev and Ronnie Edwards can play defensive midfield if he needs to, and he played it at QPR and he played it very, very well.
Speaking of which, I've included him.
Oh,
so he's not a signing, obviously, but he's a player that we didn't have last season because he was on loan at Queen's Park Rangers, and we now have him back in the Saints squad. So I have included him in this particular lineup as a new player for the season. Not a transfer as such, but we've kept hold of him. QPR apparently were making offers. As far as we're aware so far, nothing's happened. No deal's been done. Saints were rejecting bids for Ronnie Edwards. A player who went to Queen's Park Rangers last season and for the second half of the season won an award for their Young Player of the Year or whatever, despite the fact that he only was there for half a season. So I was quite excited to see him back, and then I've watched him play a few games, and that excitement has dwindled slightly.
He's a young player. I think you've just got to let these people settle. I think you've got to let these people settle at the moment. And the thing is we're going to have players, and I can see Chat are discussing it to a degree now. Jalera has played Champions League, as James is saying there, so potentially he could be on a different level to Ryan Manning.
Yeah,
but
right.
He's never played in England.
But Manning takes free kicks like Beckham.
I mean, can't argue with that then, I suppose.
I think what's quite refreshing about if we talk about the Jalera, Manning, Royce-Lev situation, what's quite refreshing right now is that Chat are discussing who plays where. And not because who's the worst, but because we've got options, which is not something we've really had.
We've got options that we're excited about. Now, I like Ronnie Edwards as a player. I watched him a lot when he was at QPR. I watched him a lot when he was at Peterborough. I think he will turn out to be in the next few years, he will turn out to be a solid Premier League defender. I think at the moment, we're all good at doing this. Saints fans love doing this. We're very good at judging people on 2 or 3 games as opposed to giving them a bit of time.
Not forgetting that we've got Wellington who's out injured right now as well.
Beef.
So we've got good cover left and right.
Yes.
I saw someone discussing on Twitter today or yesterday the fact that they would start Jalera at right back and they would bench Mads. So if he's that good, it's possible that Mads Royce-Lev doesn't find himself as a first team starter. Interesting conversation to have. Jalera, apparently is a very good player. If we bought him on loan from Galatasaray, is that just his cover option to buy, I believe, on him as well?
For 7.3 million, I think.
So defensively, how are we feeling?
The issue is, I'm confident in the defence that we've got, and I think that Will Steele will start to eradicate the mistakes. It's just the fact that we're still making those mistakes. I will admit, I've seen Chat discuss this as well. I would have preferred if we'd have got someone to challenge for the number 2 slot / number 1 spot in the goalkeeping area. I'm happy with Gavin Bazunu. That's my opinion. Everyone can shout at me. I'm happy with Gavin Bazunu as a number 1. But overall, I think we look at where we were at the start. We look at where we are now. Are we stronger defensively than when we started? Yes. I think there's going to be a transition because at the moment, I would assume if we're going to play 4 at the back, Will Steele is going to play Taylor Harbour-Bellis and Jack Stevens. I genuinely think if it was... Well, we'll get onto the top 11 later.
Well, yeah, because obviously we have talked about Ronnie Edwards, but we've also got Nathan Wood available who, for most people last match got man of the match as well.
And the match before, yeah.
Interesting. That's defence anyway. I like the fact we've got options. If you think about it with Jalera, Wellington, Manning and Mads Royce-Lev, I think wing-back-wise we're a lot stronger than we were last season. And that's good. And I can't imagine, and I pray and I hope, that we do not go into the rest of the season continuing to play 5 at the back. I can't see it happening. I can see us playing 4 at the back with high-pressing wing-backs, which means he's probably got them on because he's going to need to make changes because people are going to get tired. And if he's got wing-backs bombing back and forward because he's playing back 4, they're going to get tired. He's got replacements. And we look like now we've got solid replacements, which is a nice change because last season we bought Sugawara on, although I like the guy, I was like, so how soon till he handballs it in a box? Ultimately, right? So,
Let's take a line out.
I think we're in a positive position here. Anyway, back to the magical slideshow. So moving into midfield, we have this young fella who we've signed. This is one that really intrigues me because, again, he's another player who I hadn't really heard of before, old Kasper Yander. And the accolades around him, the noise out of Germany about this guy is that he is a really good player. He can play 6, 8, 10.
Yep.
And he's a very accomplished player already. Supposedly has had interest from Bundesliga clubs.
Yep.
Supposedly has even had interest from Premier League clubs, and has chosen to. He's gone. Has chosen to join Southampton. Has suggested that part of that reason is because of Will and the conversation he had with him.
Yep.
This is one of those ones where not a lot has been said about this guy. Twitter does Twitter, and when Twitter does Twitter, what they do is every man and his dog will put their 11 up. And what I'm interested to see at the moment is no one's got him in the starting lineup.
So we'll get on to Will Smallbone in a minute because I had something I want to say about him. But I know Yander to a degree. I watched him in the Under-21 tournament because I watched a lot of Germany play. He looks solid on the ball, looks calm and composed. My only potential where he is, again, and I think Cameron made this point earlier, having obviously lived in Germany for a while and watched him play, is that I'm just concerned that he will potentially be shocked. Now, the pace of the game, the problem being here is when we're talking about Gillett, Yander, even Cienza, assuming he gets announced at some point, we will be looking at them having to play a part first game in the derby, and I think that's these players are coming over from playing, some of them playing second division in Germany, where some stadiums are 30,000, but most of them are sort of 5, 6, 7,000. No one's there. Suddenly they're going to walk into an absolute cauldron.
Isn't it Yander who's claimed to have played in 2 derbies in Germany and won both of them? That's him, isn't it? I think
probably.
Yeah. This is one of those signings where, for me at the moment, from what I've read, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, chat. From what I've read, so pinch of salt, because every player can only be as good as the league that they're in.
Yep.
From what I've read, I honestly think this is one of the players who excites me the most. The versatility of being able to play 6, 8, 10. He's got goals to his name. He's got assists to his name. I think he could be a bit of a gem here. But
I think you'll see a movement around him, Downs, and Shea Charles. They'll be like a triangle, and they'll be in and out. One will be on the bench, and they'll take over.
Yeah.
And I think that if Joe Revo is still around and tries to get himself fit and keeps himself involved, that'll be worth it. We've just seen, obviously, in chat that Will Smallbone has been confirmed to Millwall. That's an odd one to me. We wish him all the best. He obviously gave the assist for the moment that gave us a very good day at Wembley. I'm disappointed to a degree, but I don't think Will Smallbone will ever make it higher than the level that he's at now. So hopefully he has a good season. Chat, can you confirm to us, because I don't want to get my phone out whilst we're live, can you confirm if that's got an option to buy on it? That's just a straight loan.
Felt a bit sorry for Smallbone last season, and I was part of the problem here because he was the scapegoat quite often, but he was also pretty rubbish.
Yes.
And when you were up against it, losing a game, under pressure in the Premier League, bringing Will Smallbone on, it was never going to be the answer. And a lot of us got quite frustrated because not playing well, not having a lot of possession. You're right with what you said previously. He is a player who needs to play in a team that has a lot of possession, a lot more difficult to do in the Premier League. I think he looked decent last Championship season for us. Was Smallbone Academy player?
Yes. So
he's one of I'm a man often who sometimes it's not all about the ruthlessness of football. I feel quite sorry for him. I feel like it's sad that he has gone as an academy player. Always sad to see your own go, but I think you're right. I think he's at his ceiling in this league, and honestly, I don't believe for a moment that he was going to make it in Will Steele's side. I don't think from what we've seen and from what we've heard, I don't think he'll ever be a Will Steele player.
I don't think he will be. Like I said, I don't think the Premier League, was just level too high for him. Wish him all the best. I don't think we'll potentially see him in a Saints shirt again unless we stay in the Championship. Okay. So we will just see.
I know he'll watch. Will, all the best, mate.
Yeah, all the best. But the thing is, he tried hard, and Matt's made the point now. The hate for him sometimes. No, sorry, Cameron's made the point. The hate for him sometimes went too far.
Yes,
and
of course.
He was a scapegoat, just like Bazunu's now turned into a scapegoat.
Yeah, and I don't like scapegoats, and clubs do this all the time. So when there was a Brentford fan, I think it was Martin Sanders from Football Martin interviewed a Brentford podcaster who said that Mads Roislev often was the scapegoat for Brentford. He said Brentford fans have this common problem where we find a single player and we make him the scapegoat. And I was like, mate, that's all football clubs.
It's everyone.
It just is. So
it's everyone.
I'm not sad to see him go, but I am sad to see him go. But I'm only sad to see him go from a kind of a not emotional, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like a nostalgic kind of like he's one of our academy players. All the best to him. Hope he does well. Just not against Saints. Back on. So as we were saying, this guy's a person I'm excited by. This guy has also grabbed my attention. He played obviously at the weekend away at
Watford.
Thank you, Watford. Finn Azaz, signed from Middlesbrough.
Yes.
Holds the record for the most goals and assists in the league.
Has the highest goals and assists altogether in the last 3 seasons in the Championship.
Yeah. Very quickly, Cam's asked. Sorry, Cam. We didn't mention this. I should. Dom Ballard has in fact signed for Leyton Orient. He has gone. Yeah.
On a permanent deal. Yeah. The only reason I didn't mention that is he's not really done much to impact the first team as such. I don't think some of them haven't mentioned that young guy that we signed from Peterborough just before. Look, Dom Ballard,
under 18s dude. Yeah, no.
Dom Ballard is a player that I rate. However, unfortunately, every time he's had a loan, it's not gone well for him. He'd gone to Leyton Orient for a small 6-figure fee. There is a sizable sell-on fee, hoping he does well. I'll be watching his career with interest. I hope he goes and does well. I don't see him getting into the top ranks. I think he'll probably be leading around sort of League 1, League 2. Potentially, we'll see what happens, but we never know. The one thing that Dom Ballard can do, and we know, is that if he gets the right service, he will score goals.
Finn Azaz, however,
yes,
is the person who and to be clear, we spoke about this briefly yesterday. Again, we've got record numbers tonight. I'm going to talk about it again. Matty Fernandez going is sad because he's such a great footballer in terms of the control that he had, the way that he played the game, the possession that he kept hold of. What Matty didn't really have is an end product that resulted in a very creative chance. So for the Premier League season, 2 goals, right? I don't know how many official assists. Now,
I think it was 2.
He was playing around mostly crap and feeding mostly crap. So you have to give him some leeway there. But what Matty I don't think is, in my personal opinion, I don't think he's a natural 10. I think he's more of an 8. I think he's more of a box-to-box midfielder. I think he's good at it, and I think he'll do well in the Premier League. But Finn Azaz is a natural 10. He is a nuisance. He's in and around the box. He'll pull the trigger from distance. He'll feed through balls. This is the player that I think this is the type of player at least I think we've really missed in the last few seasons, in my opinion.
He's someone who has risen through the ranks quite quickly through Plymouth into Middlesbrough and then obviously come on to us. You saw at the weekend that he's very good taking the ball on transition and running, which is where we've really struggled, because even though Matty could do that, Matty was very good at getting the ball in transition, running, turning around, passing it back and passing it wide. Now, again, you were right, he was playing with rubbish. We're in a different division. It could have been different, but
our transition has in the last year or two been terrible.
Our transition wasn't great to a degree.
Our transition didn't exist, let's be honest. Because a player would take the ball like Matty, would turn and run like you say, and when he looks up, there's nothing around him.
But what we've got now, and we'll get on to the other 2 in a minute, assuming that obviously one is confirmed, is we've now got a potential 3 to play behind a striker. If you're Ross Stewart, Adam Armstrong, Cameron Archer, Damien Downs, you now realise that when you come back from international duty, well, 2 of them come back from international duty, 1 of them, sorry, then there's suddenly the pressure's on. They've got 3 people that can now put the ball on their head, put the ball at their feet, and they're going to have no excuse. Now, we'll get into sort of our 11s later.
Yeah,
I was surprised when we were linked with Azaz because I thought he'd probably be out of our price range to a degree. But he's obviously signed.
Is he the highest fee we've paid so far at 12 million?
Yes.
I feel, maybe this is very naive of me, I feel like it's an upgrade because we haven't had this kind of player. Now, I'm not saying that he can do at Premier League level what Matty Fernandez can do at Premier League level. Honestly, I think this feels like an upgrade whilst making money.
I don't think he's an upgrade in terms of the player, but I also, again, like you said, you can't compare the players. I think they're different players. I think
agree.
We had a love affair with Matty Fernandez, and again, assuming everything was legit, we wish him well at West Ham. But we wanted Matty Fernandez to be that number 10, but he wasn't, and he never played number 8. So
he just happened to be the best player we had with the football at his feet, which is why we would have forced him into a 10 position, not his position. This guy can do it. The only big difference I think in terms of transfer fee is obviously Finn Azaz is 27, I think.
27,
and and Fernandez is 21, so he's got a lot more potential ahead of him if they can coach him into doing the sort of things that I think he needs to do. Fenazaz, however, I think great signing for Saints, like really good signing for Saints, and definitely a player that we need.
Let's see how he gets on, shall we?
And I think if he doesn't play in that 10 position every game that he can, that's a crying shame.
Yes, agreed.
Continuing in the midfield, again, the only other one I've done this for, Shea Charles. Out of the returning loans that we sent out last season, obviously Shea Charles went to Sheffield Wednesday, came back briefly for like 3 days in January, and then went off again because we were playing hardball with Sheffield Wednesday. Has now returned, has started every game pretty much in the league. Probably, I think he had a bit of a mare on Saturday, but up until that point, I think he has done an incredible job. So, like, I think he's looked probably one of our better midfielders since he's returned to the club. And obviously, I think didn't he not win Sheffield Wednesday's Player of the Year as well?
I'm going to jump in very quickly because chat are right. We got it completely wrong. Fizazaz is 24. So,
oh, is he? Okay, yeah. Even better then. Okay, even better signing. Thank you, chat. I appreciate you.
Shea Charles. My only issue with Shea Charles is, again, as you just said, he's inconsistent, and he's one of those players. He wasn't here last year. We played Joe Rebo a lot in that position, etc. And it happens with football fans, doesn't it? Players get better when they don't play.
But was he inconsistent? Is he inconsistent right now because he's bedding into the team? Because he won Sheffield Wednesday's Player of the Year.
He was inconsistent for Sheffield Wednesday.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was inconsistent. So when he was with us before, when we were in the Championship before, he was in and out, and you could see that he struggled being in and being out. I'd like to see him be given a consistent run, like I said, with him, Yander, and Glenn Downs. I think you'll see the 3 around. I think the only issue with Shea Charles before is he's quite young, so he can be quite sort of hot-headed, but we'll see. Because when we go to the 11 in a bit, we'll have an 11 that I think will play, and we'll have an 11 that I think, which is what I would like him to play. So I think Shea Charles, this is the year for him to step up and go into it. If he doesn't make his mark now, he probably never will. But he needs to make his mark in a team at the top of the Championship, play consistently, add a couple of goals to his game because he can score goals. He's good in the air, and just do a bit more in terms of the bite. But he'll have some games where he'll go missing and he'll absolutely tank it. But hopefully he can be more consistent. Which
is ultimately good that we've then got Yander and Flynn Downs available as well, right?
Yes, agreed.
Cool. Okay. So next we move into attacking options. Now at the moment, this one's a weird one. So Damien Downs, USA International.
Plays for USA. Yes.
USA International. There was a goal he scored in pre-season. I think it was the last game before the league started.
Yeah, against Espanyol.
Which I think got my hopes up, because what happened was the through ball got played. He didn't think about it. He didn't take a touch. He swung his boot at it, flew into the net, scored a goal, and I thought, oh, we've not had this for a while. We've not had a person who will make that run and pull that trigger. I think the fan base has been a bit hard on him so far. The word donkey's been used for him.
Yes.
Someone even stated that they thought he was worse than Ali Dia. I'm watching some of the runs that he's making off the ball, and I think there's some positivity there to take from it. I think there's some interesting. I think there's something interesting about him. I'm not saying he's going to be my first choice or my starter, but Damien Downs. What do you think?
You just mentioned it. The goal that he scored against Espanyol, Jay Robinson put the ball in front of him and he ran on and hit it. He hasn't had that chance. Now, people are going to shout at me. We've got 240 people watching. A lot of people will notice.
I know. What's going on?
People are going to shout at me. So don't forget to hit that like button, people. 240 people. We've got 74. So he's missed a couple of sitters. Obviously, he was let off.
Like 2 feet out, yeah.
Yeah. He was let off against, what's his face? He was let off against Wrexham because Jack Stevens was at the back post. We were let off against Northampton because Matty Fernandez scored a fairly cracking goal, to be fair, to win us that game. We have a very good habit, you said all football fans do, if someone comes in, he's not scored one in the first 4 or 5 games, kick him off. I want him to hopefully hit the ground running, but he's still young. And again, he's raw, he's getting used to the English game. Pre-season friendlies are played at a completely different pace. They played at a completely different pace, so he's done well there. We don't know. We've got 4 strikers, and not everyone is going to be there. Lars Gatira Harris just said not convinced. You know what? I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm not going to make my mind up on him right now. I want to see if we've got that attacking 3 behind, which are most people will want. I will want to see him given a run of 3, 4, 5 games, and if he hasn't done it after 3, 4, 5 games, then there's a
All
question.
right. So the question I'm going to ask you though is, can we afford to give him that in this league? Because I don't think we can.
That's the question, is it?
I don't think we can afford to give him 4 games where he might not score unless we've got people like Azaz and Fellows, etc., firing all cylinders and scoring goals. I just don't think we can afford to give him that kind of space.
The issue we have is all 4 of our strikers, and this is going to sound stupid, but all 4 of our strikers are confident strikers. We've had strikers that have played for us before, and I mentioned some names from a long time ago. People like Gregors Raziak, for example, who he would put the ball in from anywhere. It wouldn't matter what confidence he was on. If it dropped to him, he put it away. All 4 of our strikers, all of these guys, he needs a ball to go into the box, hit him on the arse and go in.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we have another attacker. Well, we've got strictly 2.
Maybe.
I took a gamble here, right? Chat, so be patient with me. Next is this guy who, when the rumours came out that we had signed him, I sent you a message and you got very excited.
A little fangirl, didn't I, for a little bit?
And then I saw the fee, and I think both of us nearly fell off our chair. 8 plus 2 mil for Fellows from West Bromwich Albion. The deal, so terms were offered, deal agreed with the club on supposedly Wednesday, but he didn't make his mind up until Friday, which is expected. He came through the West Bromwich Albion Academy. He's a West Bromwich Albion fan, as we spoke about yesterday. Finally made his mind up that he wanted to make the move to Southampton, probably because he can see Southampton returning to the Premier League before West Bromwich Albion, I assume. And you got quite excited about Tom Fellows. I don't know enough about him, to be fair.
So what we've missed, again, Sam Edozie was it to a degree, and obviously if he doesn't leave, it'll be interesting to see whether he gets integrated to get going. He's someone who gets the ball at his feet and runs. He gets the ball at his feet and he runs at players. And because he runs at players, he can beat players, he can get things around, and he can do worldies for football. He's an absolute baller. We've been calling for him for years. Because we've been able to call for him for years, we've been absolutely brilliant. I really like Tom Fellows as a player. I have no idea what you're doing right now. But I really like Tom Fellows as a player massively. I think it's fantastic. And you're looking really confused.
Yeah, there's a player who I don't have on this list who's a striker. I don't know how true this is. Apparently, Saints are delighted to announce the signing of Italian striker Rossi Stuartzi.
Hey?
It's Ross Stewart, Ash.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm assuming that's what chat were about earlier. I'm just looking through Twitter right now because someone just said that Leo's been confirmed, and I'm looking for it now before we.
Is that when you thought that we'd signed a great new Argentinian striker called Guido
Well,
Carrillo?
I look at Twitter and then I go on Google to find it, and I didn't recognise the name.
But yes, I like Tom Fellows as a player. I'll carry on chatting for a minute. Rob just said there, give time down to settle in. Tracy said the same thing. Some of these players need to be going into under-21s if they can do. Get a few minutes, get a few games in, give them time to bed in. You're saying, can we afford to give them time? We need to. We have to give them time to a degree.
Well, I'll go on to that when we go through our 11s. Twitter currently is not refreshing and showing me Leo's confirmed, so I'm waiting to see. However, Tom Fellows really excites me. Right winger naturally, normally.
Can play either side, to be fair.
And the reason why he excites me is because I think we're going to see Will move into a 4-5-1 formation.
Hopefully.
I think we're going to see 3 attacking midfielders. I think we're going to see Azaz in the middle, Fellows on one wing, and then I think we're going to see this chap on the other. Now, obviously, we don't have a shirt of him currently in a Saints shirt. Chat has just said that he's been confirmed. Well, someone in chat has said he's been confirmed. So where is it? Garyon Gus, have I said that right? Leo has now been confirmed. I'm waiting for it to come through now.
Well, Nico Lawrence apparently has had his contract terminated as well.
Has he? Interesting. And if this guy has been Leo Cienza, if he's been confirmed, again, really positive things about him. Currently plays Bundesliga.
Yes. Started off really well this season as well.
And considering Will has said quite early on that he wants wide, fast wingers, high pressure, lots of pace, getting the ball whipped in, he fits that bill. I think he scored 3 already this season.
So I watched him in a game on Sky Sports when they scored against Wolfsburg. And he's one of those players, and I think Tom Fellows could be very similar as well. They're very good at floating across the top line. So they're not set in position. He just floats and just turns up in random places. Now, I don't know enough about him. Apparently he's quick. He's good at scoring goals. He's good at scoring free kicks, etc. So Manning can have a little free kick competition. I don't know enough about him, to be fair, but like I said, he's a Brazilian. He looks like he's got tricky feet. He looks like he's good with the ball at his feet. So again, another player that we need in terms of being able to actually get his feet down and go for it. So
yeah, no, I'm looking, and there currently is no confirmation that he's actually been signed.
Everyone else would say he's been signed if it was.
From what I've seen so far on social media and the news, it looks like he flew into the UK today. It looks like he flew into Southampton. It looks like the deal is done. It looks like he's going to be a Saints player. This is one of those ones where I would say, chat, hold your horses in flying your Brazilian flags, because it's football.
We've been here
and
before.
we are Southampton.
We have been here before.
There's absolutely every chance that it doesn't happen. Now, apparently, Saints are waiting for the league to confirm, and they have to work through all the deals. But if he is a signed Saints player, he's also quite exciting.
Yes.
And I think that when we talked earlier in the show about the losing of Matty Fernandez and the losing of Tyler Dibbling, if you consider Azaz, Fellows, Cienza, Yanda all coming in just for midfield and attacking options, and considering where we were before, I think net this is a big upgrade. Not forgetting that we still have Fraser, who I'll hold my hands up and say I wrote off last season at the end of the season. When we did our keep sell loan at the end of the season, I was like, get rid of him. He's not Premier League quality, but so far this season, or so I thought, he has said that the reason why he's been crap recently is because he's never had a pre-season. This season so far, I think he's been incredible.
Scottish, isn't he?
I think he's been really good to see. I think, honestly, he's had an argument to be player of the man of the match for most of the games.
Yes.
He's also got incredible levels of versatility. And what he's got in a Will Still system is he's got the determination to just run and give you everything for every minute he's on the pitch.
Yes.
Hats off to him. Great versatility player. Can play wings. Can play wing backs. Can play in that 10 role, really. Probably not quite as creative as Azaz, but definitely can do it. And you have to think, right? If you play Fraser in that 10 role 2 games ago, when he's got no real wide players next to him, he's going to probably look a bit swamped and a bit.
He will be someone who, if you think about it realistically, because I think talking teams, most people would expect us to play a 4-2-3-1 with the 3 being behind the 1 being Azaz, Fellows, and Cienza, assuming he signs. You imagine playing up against that 3. And then for the last 20 minutes, because we've made a change, we bring on flipping Ryan Fraser, and Jack's just made the perfect comment. Little Jack Russell, all he's doing is running and biting at heels.
Oh, yeah,
and
honestly.
biting at heels and biting at heels. That's going to be a nightmare, because I've seen comments there talking about Jalert becoming our permanent left back, so who then covers Ryan Fraser. If we need a position covered, apart from centre back and goalkeeper and striker, Ryan Fraser.
But there's also every
He'll cover
chance.
anywhere.
Well, there's also every chance if you take off Mads, you can always move Gillette over to the right hand side and then bring on Manning as well. You've got options, right?
Literally, yeah.
Because you can do both. So they are our current ins, with one that's yet to be confirmed, right? So again, as we've said, Cienza's not yet confirmed. It looks like we're waiting for the EFL to confirm the transfer. Hoping that we'll get an announcement at some point before we all go to bed tonight. Probably not for you, because you'll be going to bed soon after we finish this. But hopefully we'll get that announcement today. And I think without Cienza, I think the transfer window as a whole, for me, would sit at around an 8 out of 10 mark.
Okay.
I think with Cienza, it climbs to a 9 out of 10 mark. The only way I think we'd have made it a 10 out of 10 mark if we would have actually genuinely strengthened in the goalkeeper department. Because my biggest concerns in the squad in general right now for me personally is in that goalkeeper position. And I don't think Baz is bad, and I'd like to see him do really, really well. But Ramsdale to Bazunu is a monumental downgrade. And then McCarthy, is he pushing Bazunu's spot?
I think the window, assuming Cienza is confirmed, is better than we could have potentially hoped for. Knowing where we've been, I think it's better than what we can be hopeful.
I think Spors has pulled off an absolute masterclass.
Oh, it's been a blinder.
Especially if Cienza is confirmed. I think he's pulled off an absolute masterclass, which brings me into my next point. So one of the things I want to do before we go is I wanted to put together an 11 loosely. I'd love to know what you guys think of this, right? And do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I can go first, I don't mind. Well, it depends. Like I said, I've got one that I would prefer, and I've got one that I think Will Steele would play.
Yeah, but I don't care what you think Will Steele will play. I want to know what you would play now with what we've got available to us. Let's assume Cienza signs.
So is this assuming our starting lineup against Portsmouth on the 14th?
No, just from going forward, who would
Okay.
be your starting 11?
So I think, obviously, Bazunu in goal.
I would agree.
I would play Mads at right back.
Okay.
I would have a centre-back partnership of Nathan Wood and Taylor Harbour-Bellis. I would play Manning at left back. I would have, at the moment, because I'm not sure on Yanda, having not seen him play, I'd have Flynn Downs and Shea Charles, Fellows, Azaz, Cienza, and then Cameron Archer up front.
So I'm similar. I'd start Stevens in the middle with Wood. I think at the moment, Gillette interests me. I think, he's played Champions League football. I would be inclined to have him as a starting right back. At the moment, I think Ryan Manning is doing too much for me to leave him out. Scored 2 free kicks, whips loads of balls in. Some questions defensively, granted. But I would go Bazunu in goal, Manning at left back, Stevens and Nathan Wood is where I would go.
Okay.
And I would go probably Gillette at right back, to be honest with you. Midfield, I'm looking at Shea Charles, and I would, based on what I've read, we haven't seen these guys play. This will be very interesting in, 2 months to do this again.
Yeah.
Right? I would go Shea Charles and Yanda in the middle.
Okay.
I'd actually drop Flynn Downs, personally.
Okay.
I would then play the same front midfield 3 as you. So I would play Azaz, Cienza, and Fellows.
Yeah.
And I would also start Cam Archer.
I
think with those 3 behind Cam has enough potential to challenge for league top scorer.
Well, look, I said to you before, and I'm going to stick by this, it's going to be a tough one because the strikers now necessarily don't have an excuse. I think that if this is exactly where we need to, those strikers, they need to start producing the goods. And I think we'll see a lot of goals probably being shared around it. I think that, I'm a massive Ross Stewart fan, but I think Cameron Archer needs to start at the moment. I think Ross Stewart and Damien Downs is it. I'm honestly at the moment, I think with the way the team is lined up at the moment, I think you've probably got 1 of 3 strikers because I think that Adam Armstrong will just become a replacement for a right wing position. Which I'm not disappointed about, by the way.
So interestingly, I don't think that someone like Ross Stewart suits a Will Steele play style. I think a Cam Archer does suit him. And what you have to remember is at that point, if we play either of those teams you're talking about either a Taylor Howard-Bellis or a Jack Stevens on the bench. You're talking about perhaps a Flynn Downs or a Yander on the bench. You're talking about a Ryan Fraser on the bench. You're talking about Damien Downs and maybe Ross Stewart. Like, we're talking about actually having quite a decent amount of depth in the team in general.
Yeah.
We're talking about having a strong bench. One of the things I think that the club really suffered from in the Premier League season is no impact from substitutions so often. We didn't have any depth that meant that we could put players on that would then cause problems. We didn't have that level of depth.
Well, this will be the point, wouldn't it? So the one thing you said last night, and you were right in what you said, that we haven't had a period in the game. We've looked poor in some aspects, but we've never been truly awful for a full 90 minutes. Now, we get 5 substitutions and we get 9 subs. So you look at that, and obviously some of the subs will pick themselves, but we've just picked our starting 11s, and we've not picked Ryan Fraser. We've not picked Jay Robinson. We've just discussed around Flynn Downs, Shea Charles, and Yander. One of them will be on the bench. We'll have a couple of those strikers on the bench. Matt Suka we haven't mentioned. Moses Sissay, who was superb in pre-season, is now potentially going to be 4th. We've not mentioned Joe Reba potentially be around. There's also an option, if nothing goes through, that Sam Dozy comes back into the fold. And now suddenly we're like, and that's not even mentioning if you pick 2 of those defenders. So let's just say you pick Jack Stevens, Taylor Harbour-Bellis. Let's be honest, that's what you're going to pick. You've then got Nathan Wood, Ronnie Edwards, Joshua Kwashi. You've then got 2 more fullbacks coming to the mould. Suddenly, we're sport for choice.
And strong choices. And one of the things I do love, however, Stedders, I love this comment. It's one of my favourites, right? Who says, 9 out of 10 window until we're 14th in 2 months' time. And you're right. It's football, right? That happens. But I'm so used to underwhelming transfer windows that actually it feels good to be excited about a transfer window for a change. And it feels excited to think about the squad that we've got now And I think historically, over the course of the last year or so, we've looked at the players available to us, and for the most part, what we've been doing as a fan base is we've been essentially trying to pick the least shit team that we can.
Yes.
Going, it's not great, but it's the best we've got. And now what I think we've potentially done with this window is it looks like at least we've started to introduce genuine competition for place. And competition for place can only really be healthy. Because if you've got competition for striker and you've got competition for winger and you've got competition for wing back and you've got competition in the middle of the park, you're encouraging players who are getting picked and starting to up their game to hold their place. And I don't think we had that level of competition before, if I'm honest.
I don't. Obviously, we've had the level of competition for strikers in terms of where we are now, but we need to really make sure that those strikers are being given the opportunity to score. And I think we'll be happy if Finazaz is scoring, if Fellows is scoring, if Cienza, assuming he's done and signed, maybe 2 hours later. Saints admin get me one. Assuming the goals will come from those. Cameron Archer's got 2 in 2 now. Obviously, one's in the cup, but it all adds up. We need to give some of these guys a run in the team.
This is what I'm saying, right? So Cam Archer, you said it yourself, is a confident striker, right? We played him in the cup against Norwich. Let's face it, their championship opposition. Granted, they didn't have the strongest team in the world out, but played it, and he scored a great strike from outside the 18-yard box.
Yes,
which I didn't expect him to do, and he did it. Okay, and then we played at the weekend, and he got what I would consider a poacher's goal.
Yeah.
So he scored a reasonably decent strike. He scored a poacher's goal. Surely that's enough now for him to. I think he's got to start against the Skates. I do, and I think that 2 goals from 2 games means that surely that confidence is starting to come back into him. If you then play players behind him like Azaz, Cienza, Fellows, they're going to feed him. Surely.
I would like to hope. Now it's going to be different because it's a derby game, obviously, and we know what can happen in derby games. But I'd like to hope that we are going to see a fast and furious attacking lineup against the Skates. Well, 4 at the back, 2 sitting, 3 people going forward, and then just Archer can feed off that. If he feeds off that nicely, he'll do well. But if the problem is you've got the options there to change it. That's the thing.
It does make me nervous. It does make me nervous that after bringing these players in with an international break, who thought that was a good idea? The next league game is going to be the derby game at home at St Mary's. Now, if you join us on Sunday at 8 p.m, we'll be reviewing that particular game. Not really the game that I would like to see the squad play its first game together in, but I think that at least we're potentially going to have all of our best players available for that game. Thank God, right?
Yes, and hopefully.
Potentially, they can not be perfectly gelled and maybe still batter them and look great. And then imagine a 9 out of 10 window becomes a 15 out of 10 window if all the new players start against the Skates and we batter them 4-0. Right? That's it then. It becomes the best window ever, ultimately. So, hey, we'll see, right? Love Will still, he says he hates international games. I hate international games.
Who does? Everyone does. It's not proper football, is it?
I'm bored of it now. I'm bored of it. For all those people that have joined us tonight, thank you so much. We are 4 or 5 now away from 1,000 subscribers according to the chat, which is amazing. Thank you, you're incredible. If you haven't already and you're watching live right now and you've not commented, hit that sub button for us. It's super helpful. Helping us to get over 1,000 would be incredible. If you want to support the show, if you like what you've seen tonight because you're new here, you can become a member of the channel. It gives you access to extra sections in Discord. We're going to start doing frequent and regular members giveaways. It'll probably be just merch stuff from the Saints shop and stuff like that.
Me, by the way, Cameron gave me your address so you can send him out the shirt that you want.
Cameron gave you my address? That's weird.
Well, I know what I mean.
Yeah. So, if you want to support us, becoming a member would be incredible. Because at the moment we run the show at a loss. We do it, like I said at the start of the show, we do it simply for the love of football, for the love of Southampton, and because we enjoy doing the show, genuinely. So those of you that are members, thank you. If you see a person who's green in chat, that's because they're a member. You're amazing. You can also support us with Super Chats. We did have one during the show, which came from Dan Shambrook.
Thank you
for the $5, mate. He says, where do you think you finish end of the season with the business done?
I don't know why I didn't just ask me this when I was at work today.
That's a difficult one to answer.
I think we've had a very strong window. I think other teams out there haven't. Now, I think there are some teams, like your Leicesters, who will have had a good window because they haven't lost Mavadivi and they haven't lost. I'm not dancing at 1K subs.
He is.
And we haven't lost. They haven't lost Fatu, and Fatu is a great player. Birmingham have had a very good window. They've been very strong. I think we just need to give it a chance. Let the team be bedded in. I'm going to say something now, which isn't going to make people panic. If we do lose our next league game,
I don't need the dump button. Okay, cool.
oh, okay. If we do lose our next league game, don't bloody panic, because we need to give them time.
That would be a hard one to take, I'll be honest.
It would be a massively hard one to take.
But anyway,
don't panic.
to his super chat, where do we finish?
My pre-season prediction was 4th. Having seen the league so far, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that at the moment.
I can see us challenging for the top spot.
Look, come back in 4 months and we'll have a different discussion, I'm sure.
I legitimately think, and I'm aware that I am, for a Saints fan specifically, unusually optimistic post-transfer window. I think if we can keep people fit, if we can avoid silly red cards, Jack Stevens, if we can avoid Flynn Downs making his own dinner, honestly, I think we can challenge for top spot. Genuinely believe at the moment we can challenge for top spot. So anyway, chat have also informed us whilst we're live on air, we've just hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you very much, everyone. That's the best you're getting. There we go.
There you go. You've got a dance live on air for it. Yeah.
No, I think
You should have-
no, yeah, you should have got a beat going. That would be
Yeah.
better. I think fourth was my prediction. And I'll stick with it for the moment, only purely and simply because whilst we've had all these additions coming in, they're exciting. I've not seen enough in the current team at the moment, but we speak 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line. Our next games, we've got Portsmouth, we've got Hull, we've got Middlesbrough, and then we've got Sheffield United. So let's see where we go.
Liam claiming the title 4 games in. To be fair, Garsty, I'm not claiming the title off of our performances so far either. I interestingly think we've not looked great. We've looked a bit unsettled. We've made some howling defensive errors that Will still has categorically stated in the press that he needs to work out. And yet we've come away from 4 points. I genuinely think we have the potential to challenge for top spot, honestly. And if not, I don't see us finishing anything lower than playoffs. Mikey says in chat, I said 12th before these purchases. I'd be interested to know, Mikey, what you say now post-purchases. Interestingly.
Well, Tracy's made the point there as well. She said she agreed for 4th, but be very confident in the playoffs. I think if...
Yeah, but we can't take Tracy seriously because she also says good dance.
I have some fans in the world. My kids told me when we got to 1,000k subscribers, 1,000k?
1,000k? We're a
Jesus.
while off that, man. That's a million.
Yeah, when we get to 1k subscribers, I could say that I was famous. So, no, mother, that dance does not have to be weekly. We'll just have to wait and see. But it all depends on getting those players in. The international break, in all fairness, has come at a really horrible time. So you need to get the players in, get them bedded, and it's gonna. Let's be honest, it's gonna be ropey. It's gonna be ropey against the Skate to start off with.
But also, it could be incredible. You just don't know. It's Derby Day. It's Derby Day, and I've seen people calling for the level of support when they showed up for the semi-final against West Bromwich Albion at home. They want to do the same against Portsmouth on that Sunday, which could get the players really fired up. Like Fellow said that he was there for that game when that support happened. He's excited to play in front of that. Like honestly, it's every chance those players can walk out on that stage. And I Wrexham, the first game of the season, the crowd was loud. Yes. Very loud.
Yes.
The support was incredible. If we can emulate that, and I actually think we'll probably take it up a level from just that particular game, I think that could give them a real lift. And ultimately we could see some incredible football. And if we play hard and fast and we get an early goal, honestly, I don't think it will be ropey. It could be ropey. I'm not saying it definitely won't be. It could be. It also could be an incredible game of football. Who knows?
Yeah, I just...
Pompey have also made some signings.
They have, and I don't even know who they are, to be fair. I know they've just re-signed Connor Chaplin on loan, and I fucking hate him, so...
Yeah,
we'll see how he gets on. He played in the last derby at St Mary's, actually.
Thank you, Matt, for the 2. He says the atmosphere on the 14th needs to be electric. I just think it will be.
It has to be.
What I do think is I think it needs to come from every stand. Every stand.
Yes, Chapel.
Yes, Chapel.
Looking at you.
Pull your weight.
It needs to come from every stand, yes.
Speaking about the 14th, the next stream we will be doing will be at 8 p.m. on Sunday. And what we're going to be doing for this particular stream is we will be previewing, not reviewing, we'll be previewing the Portsmouth game. We'll be talking about as much as I think we'll talk about probably the last 3 or 4 meetings. We'll talk about, things we're excited for, things we think we need to do. We're just going to preview the game and get excited about it. I am excited about it. It's been a while since I've been at a derby day, so I am looking forward to it. And then obviously the week after, on the 14th, we'll be doing another show at 8 p.m. post the Portsmouth game, where we're either going to be ecstatic or we're just going to be sad depressed. Or one of the two.
Cancel the show in disgrace.
Yeah, absolutely. Sack Will Still. Thank you, Yeston, for the 1 gifted membership. You're a legend. If you have been gifted a membership, or if you have become a member of the channel, please get yourself in the Discord server. It's linked in the video description below. There is a free area. So if you're a new subscriber tonight, there is a free area in Discord where we discuss the Championship and the Premier League and all sorts. There also is a members section. If you have ideas for specific members, things that you want, additional threads in Discord, extra sections, whatever it might be, please feel free to send it to Ash and I, predominantly Ash. If he gets the messages, he can pass on to me and I can probably make it happen, right? So I would like to grow the members' benefits. What I don't want to do is put a lot of time and effort into stuff that you lot go, well, that's shit. I'm not interested. I wouldn't pay for it. I'd rather you gave me the ideas.
He's a technical one.
I'd rather you gave me the ideas and we can make it, potentially we can make it happen. That's the hope, right? Cool. Are we good?
I think so, yes.
We're a few minutes over, but I think it was an interesting discussion.
When we still haven't had him announced yet, so I'm a bit worried now.
I'm not worried.
Meltdown, Saint Twitter. Meltdown.
I'm not worried yet.
I mean, I will be if we get home and there's nothing. But
no, I think you'll wake up to it. I think it'll be announced late at night, I'll be honest.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting.
See. Cool. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you hit those buttons. We have hit over 100 likes for the first time during a live show. We've also hit that 1,000 subscribers. You're amazing. Thank you so much. We genuinely love you all. And it wouldn't be the end of the show without Ash giving some raucous words of encouragement. Okay? Are you ready this time?
I'm going to try.
Still 200 people watching this occasion. It's not like the normal 3.
So pressure, isn't it?
This has got to be a good one. Right, this has got to be probably the best you've done. If otherwise, next week we won't have 200 people watching us. It'll be 3 again. All right.
Well, one's just gone off straight away, so they don't want to hear it, do they?
Next week, if you don't do a good job, next week it will literally just be our mum, my wife, and the dog watching again. Okay. So, Ash, words of encouragement for the boys.
Okay. Oh, what now?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's start that again.
Okay, Ash.
Sorry. Yes.
Ash.
Yes.
Words of encouragement for the boys.
Up the Saints.
Up the Saints. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.